G'day everyone, artist Wayne Dowson here with part 4 of our Tasmanian adventure. And there was more beautiful scenery to ride through, more glorious bushwalks to be enjoyed, and it didn't take long for Jacqui and I to find more dirt. We'd left the lovely country town of Ross, and we were riding our way through the dirt road towards Interlaken. As usual, it was another beautiful day and the wildlife was abundant. We just had to be careful not to run over any of the Tasmanian tiger snakes. They were everywhere. We were now leaving the beautiful sheep country and making our way over the spectacular Great Western Tiers. And on our way over the Tiers, we stopped at the small town of Poatina. We had a beautiful lunch, fantastic little cafe. That arvo, we arrived at Longford, where we set up our camp beside the banks of the beautiful Macquarie River. There was plenty of bird life around, and the beauty of this place was, when you finished cooking your dinner, the locals would help you clean and wash your plates. The following day was a big one. Jacqui and I rode into the city of Launceston. From there it's only a 2-minute ride to Cataract Gorge. And we spent half the day bushwalking through the beautiful surrounds. It's a rare and natural phenomenon in any city. A beautiful walk along the cliff face looking down onto the South Esk River. You walk beside the banks of the Tamar River on a pathway originally built in the 1890s. And after a rugged 2-hour walk, we rewarded ourselves with a ride on Australia's longest chairlift. And down there is the Cataract Gorge restaurant, so we stopped in for a beautiful lunch before hitting the local museum. And remember when I said I was going to do a painting of the Tasmanian tiger? Well, this is where my research began. The story of the Tasmanian tiger is a sad one, and I was inspired to paint this most mysterious animal. So without any further ado, this is my latest oil painting. I've called it Once Were Tigers. It depicts a family of thylacines looking back on humanity, asking why. The next day we were at it again. Jacqui and I were riding through the beautiful Tamar Valley. It runs northwest from the city of Launceston to the coast, where we had a lovely lunch at Beauty Point, right by the water, and then we continued riding all the way to Turner's Beach, overlooking Bass Strait. Then instead of returning to Longford, we took a very special detour. Whilst Jacqui and I were travelling around Tasmania, I was talking on the internet to a fellow adventure rider named Jeff. Jeff had told me that there was an adventure ride organised which would start at Ulverston and invited us to come along. And as the day of the ride approached, and seeing as it was going to be a big ride, Jeff suggested, why don't we stay on his farm with he and his lovely wife Jodie. How privileged do you think we felt? That night we got to meet Jeff and another riding buddy Phil whilst Jodie was at work. Jeff made us dinner, we had a few drinks and chatted the night away, getting ready for the big ride the following day. Now let me tell you something about these Tasmanian adventure riders. They really know how to organise things. We rocked up in the morning at Ulverston at the Northwest Motorcycle Shop, where the boys from the shop cooked us a bacon and eggs breakfast. Now that's the proper way to start a ride. Then we were off, 28 riders on all different types of adventure bikes, riding through the beautiful Tasmanian wilderness. No doubt about it, it was an absolutely perfect day for riding. The weather was brilliant, and I was in the company of a great bunch of adventure riding guys and girls. But let me tell you something, because Tasmania was in a drought. In some sections, boy was it dusty. For the start of the ride, there was no point in videoing because you just couldn't see anything. But that's okay, you knew when you were coming up to another rider when you bounced off their rear tyre. We were riding through unique habitats not found anywhere else. I got to ride through hidden treasures of bushland, a forgotten wilderness that holds ancient relics of old bridges, dating back to a different time. I couldn't help but think these fellow riders were so lucky. They were riding through beautiful, high-quality wilderness. Extensive and largely undisturbed tracts of cool, temperate rainforest, and the area we were riding through represents Australia's largest remaining single tract of these beautiful rainforests. And in Tasmania, you don't need an adventure bike, you don't need dirt tyres. One of the boys was riding a road bike, and I'll tell you what, it didn't seem to slow him down either. We came back into civilization for some tucker, a little rest, and to fuel the bikes. And then we were back into it. The boys were using the quarterman system to great effect, and although there were 28 riders and it was really dry and dusty, we all managed to stay together as a closely knit group and continued making great time in covering lots of Ks. And I always looked forward to stopping for a regroup and a rest, because wherever we stopped, it was in an absolutely beautiful place. You see, I'd learned that no matter where you find yourself in Tasmania, it's going to be beautiful. And you mix that together with a whole bunch of adventure riders, well, there's no better way to spend your holiday. And I felt really privileged to be riding around with a bunch of locals, because this is what it's all about. Adventure riding at its finest. And the entire day was just amazing. My only regret was that Jacqui wasn't there to enjoy it with us. She'd opted to have breakfast with Jody back on the farm and then have a beautiful leisurely ride back to Longford. And I was going to meet her back at camp that afternoon, which really turned into that evening, because I rode well over 300 Ks with the Tasmania Adventure Group, and then I think it was another 100 Ks getting back from Wynyard to Longford. Was I tired? No way. I was excited. I'd had a brilliant day, and the following day, Jacqui and I were about to ride Jacob's Ladder at Ben Lomond. I couldn't wait. Behind that helmet, I'm wearing a massive grin. So thanks, Jeff, for making it all possible.